you working to build bridges with young people under 25 regarding getting engaged in local politics? How can they be local change makers enacting sustainable change for the issues impacting their lives?
Well, I'm happy to kick it off. I want to first give a shout out to our folks, Students for Bid, who are organizing across the city throughout this campaign. And they're a great example of young people getting involved in local government. As a junior in high school, I worked on my first campaign, the Wes Clark for President campaign. And I saw how important it was for young folks to have a voice in improving our democracy. And I think it must start in high school across our city.
Well, this is Sandra Williams. Thank you all so much for having me here today. It's been my pleasure to meet with you before, and I know we're going to have an exciting time tonight. I think the way young people get involved in politics is by starting early, as Justin said. The earlier you start and the earlier you know and understand politics on both the local, state, and federal level, the better you understand how those three systems working together impacts your lives, and they all impact your life in a different way. What I've done in the past is work with young people by mentoring young people, young girls and young men in just everyday life, just growing up in general, and also mentoring through school and having people work in my office during the summertime to know the landscape of state politics. Once you know every aspect of state politics, I think you're better able to go out and advocate for yourself and other people in your community. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we have something called an LSC fellowship in the state legislature. And I bring a lot of people into the state legislature. It's the brightest of the brightest, they say. And people from Cleveland, we have a lot of people who have now been elected to office who've gone through LSC fellowship program to learn about all levels of government, not just the state legislature, but every different department, because they all work together in some way, shape, or form. That's the way I think you start getting involved in politics and digging deep into your political classes in high school and in college. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to sit down and talk to a number of individuals on this panel that I'm learning to, that I've respected over the years and learning to respect as we go through this mayoral candidacy. And I thank you very much for this opportunity. I'll tell you the best way. I was a councilman for 17 years. And I would always bring young people in to be my interns throughout the year. I think the best way is you got to get on the ground. You got to start in those offices, in those political offices, knocking on those doors, asking the political figures, whether it's people who've been elected to office, whether it's, because there are ways that you can be on the front side of the camera, which most of us are that have been elected officials, or you can be behind the camera that you can actually run the campaign itself. Just knock on those doors. I've my 17 years as a councilman, anyone who ever wanted to be an intern in my office, I never turned them away. We had paid internships because the best way of getting started is to start early. And I can tell you, I started when I was 14 years old, working with the councilman in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood where I grew up. And I would say that helped me, forge me, that by the time I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be an elected official. And by the grace of God, I was able to fulfill that dream in 2001 when I became a councilman in the city of Cleveland.